Oh boy, let's check this shit out. We got some tier set bonuses to check out today, man. Because, you know, Heart of Fear's out. Everybody's cleared it, right? Yeah, no, good joke. Anyway, you're probably, if you're doing well, you're getting in some tier. Terrace of the Endless Spring's coming out. Likely, probably going to be just as hard as Heart of Fear. But either way, your group's starting to get tier. You got tier from the world bosses, stuff like that. You're trying to think about tier sets. Well, I'm going to look at each tier set for the healers. Okay, I'm going to give my opinions. Remember that word, quote unquote, opinions, about whether or not you should go for 2 or 4 set, or perhaps none. And we're going to weigh the stats of the actual pieces. Talk about that kind of stuff. So this is not law. Okay, I'm not giving you a guide on yes or no on tier sets, but this is just my humble opinions. I don't crunch numbers for anything other than Holy Pally, so I can't tell you exactly what to do. But we'll start right off with Resto Druid. Now, they have a pretty solid one. They have their 2 set reduces the mana cost of Rejuve by 10%. Okay, I'll remind you, Rejuve is the best heal in the game. Okay, so that is you're definitely going for 2 set, no matter what. 4 piece is Swift Mend reduction cooldown by 3 seconds. I'm not so sure about that one. Let's examine the actual pieces. Okay, so we have the helm is Mastery Spirit, best in slot. Okay, hands are Haste Spirit 509, likely best in slot. The only other option appears to be Spirit, so gotta go that. Shoulders, Crit Spirit, crit probably not very good, but decent option. Spirit's on it. Legs have Mastery but no Spirit, so you gotta figure out if you actually want Mastery or if you'd rather Spirit. If so, then you're not going to be able to get that piece. Not even sure what else is out there. In terms of, where is it? The chest has Spirit and Haste. 2 sockets. So, pretty good compared to another 2 socket with Spirit Mastery. I would go for 4 piece if I were Resto Druids. The pieces themselves aren't bad. The legs are probably the worst if you actually need Spirit. The shoulders are the worst if you actually need Mastery. Where is it? Yeah, there it is. If you actually need Mastery, I would probably go for it. But the set itself is not overwhelming. It's just Swift Mend. You know what I mean? How often do you need to do that? Efflorescence is obviously good to have down, but there's not many fights where I find it like overly useful. So that's up to you. You guys can weigh that on your own. Okay, Mistweaver Monks next. This one's actually the 4 set's actually wrong. It hasn't been updated on MMO Champ. For some reason. But anyway, the 2 set is reduce the mana cost of your Surging Mist spell by 10%. Mana cost, flat 10% reduction. And 4 set is essentially, just make sure. Yeah, there it is. Increases the healing done by Enveloping Mist by 5%. Now, this is a peculiar one because I feel like every other one really increases a very operative spell. And this is not really, these 2 spells are not operative spells for monks right now. So I'm going to go ahead and say if the set pieces themselves aren't well itemized, just avoid it altogether. But that's likely not going to be the case, as there's not many options for the tier. So you're likely just going to end up getting this anyway. But in terms of the set bonus itself, it's not going to contribute a ton. We'll see what 5.0, when 5.1 comes out, what they do to the spell priority. But right now, I mean, you're barely even using, you know what I mean? Enveloping Mist, not really getting used unless you're really doing a lot of single target healing. So we'll look at the pieces. Helm is definitely best in slot. Shoulders, Spirit Haste. I mean, likely best in slot. The other shoulders don't have Spirit. Shoulders, looking about this, or that was hands, my bad. This is shoulders. Same Spirit Crit. Legs, once again, don't seem to have Spirit. Maybe this is a trend. I guess we'll figure this out as we go. So probably not going to go with the legs unless there's Spirit on the other option, so I'd rock those. And then the chest has Spirit Haste. So I mean, these are well itemized pieces. You know what I mean? They're pretty well done. There's not a lot of better options. So same amount of sockets really for each. So I'd go with it. 4 set's not going to be hugely useful. Neither is really 2 set, but it's worth it, I guess. It's better than nothing. And if you can get the tier, you might as well wear it. Not going to be hugely successful though. Okay, we're going to skip Pallies for now, come back to them at the end. We're doing Holy Priest next. Okay, now they're 2 set for both Holy and Discipline, actually. Is Flash Heals, mana cost by 10%. It's been buffed up to 20%, I believe. So that's going to be pretty good. And then the 4 set is reduce the cooldown of your Circle of Healing spell by 4 seconds for Holy. So, holy shit. this is really good. Okay, especially as holy. Flash heal is something that you, if you can get a 20% reduction in the cost, I'm gonna fucking use that spell. And then Circle of Healing, it's a fucking 10-second cooldown. What the hell? They've just almost cut the cooldown in half, right? That is massive. And if it's on an AoE fight, which if you're holy, you better be doing it because it's an AoE fight. Yeah, I mean that's huge. Let's check out the gear, but I don't even, you know what? I don't even need to see it. Don't care what it is. Get the forset. I'm not even gonna look at it. Don't get the forset. Okay, on to discipline. Moving on, we got the same thing for the 2 set. Obviously, 20% flash heal. It's like I said, it's been buffed up to 20% mana cost wise. And then cooldown of penance by 4 seconds. Okay, 4 seconds. So once again, 10-second cooldown. Although penance is not Circle of Healing. Let's put it that way. It's a good single target heal. But discipline's not really a single target spec anymore. You know what I mean? They can do both. So this kind of depends on what you're doing in the fight. Obviously, you're not probably going to have the luxury of switching gear sets per fight, but theoretically, I would stay away from this 4 set unless you actually plan on using a lot of penance. Now, we'll have to examine the actual pieces and whether or not that's an option. And once again, the 2 set for discipline is far weaker than it is for holy, but like I said, 20% off a freaking spell, no matter what the spell is going to put that in the arsenal at some point. Now, the helm, best in slot. Anything with Spirit Mastery, absolutely. Hands, Spirit Haste. No socket, so yeah, probably go with it. You know what I mean? If you have to, if you get it, I guess, if you're giving it. In terms of shoulders, okay, we got Spirit Crit. That's definitely the worst stat. Crit is definitely, although it's not as bad for other specs. So I would probably try to get the Mastery shoulders, although they're lower eye level. I'm not really sure what's up with that. But legs, you got Spirit Mastery again, best in slot. So definitely getting 2 pieces best in slot either way. And then chest is Spirit Haste for the tier set piece. So you'll have to make a decision. You know what I mean? They're not terrible. There's 2 pieces that are best in slot pieces. And it's up to you, essentially, and I guess your guild, however loot works for them, if they want to give you all 4 pieces. But if you have it, you might as well use it. Penance is a go-to spell, but definitely not going to double your output like Circle of Healing, man. That's just insane. So it's up to you. Move on. Shaman. Okay, we're moving on. Obviously, Resto is the next stop. Okay, Resto Shaman. We got pretty interesting ones. 2 sets going to be greater healing wave, mana cost reduced by 10%, so pretty decent. 4 set is going to be Tidal Waves. Now, this is a strange one. This is Tidal Waves now grants an additional charge each time it's triggered. I had to fucking look Tidal Waves up, man, because I don't even know what it does anymore, but 2 set in terms of efficacy it's pretty solid. You know what I mean? Mana cost is always definitely an important thing. So depending on how much you use Greater Healing Wave, you're probably going to end up with 2 set anyway. So you'll have it. Now, Tidal Waves, let's examine, just to remind everybody, because perhaps if I didn't know, you also didn't. Don't forget your Tidal Waves. It's triggered when you cast Chain or Riptide. Okay. And it's going to have 2 charges. It's going to reduce the cast time of Healing Wave and Greater Healing Wave by 30%, and it's going to increase the crit chance of your Healing Surge with your Flash Heal, right? So that's peculiar, right? Why would they give that? That's a strange spell. That's a strange 4 set. I've never seen a 4 set like that. This is a passive thing. This is kind of something that it gets ingrained in your mind, and you're like, okay, I got a Chain Heal and Riptide on cooldown to keep this up, but you don't ever cognizantly, I don't know, I don't ever look at this buff as something that's like, oh man, there's 2 charges. Oh shit, only 1 charge left. You know what I mean? This is a strange buff. So I don't know about that. I can't tell you one way or the other. But I'm looking at the gear sets, and this is straight out. It's telling me 5 pieces best in slot. I don't know if I believe that. Spirit, the only piece that doesn't have Spirit is the legs. Mastery and Crit, or Mastery and Spirit, or Mastery and Haste, excuse me, are pretty good for Shaman. So the only piece that has Crit, I believe, is the shoulders. So it's up to you. You know what I mean? You can go with it. I don't know how good this is going to be, so I don't want to say one way or the other. I don't know how effective this is actually going to be. That sounds like it's going to be pretty effective, but it's a tough one. It's a strange spell to be having on a 4 set, don't you think? I don't know. We'll move on to Holy Pally, my favorite. Okay, we're coming up with the Holy Paladin, man, my favorite, you know, tip of the sword kind of shit right here. We got 2 piece. Reduces mana cost of your Holy Radiance by 10%. Woo! 4-piece. Reduces the cooldown of your Holy Shock spell by 1 second. It's been buffed to 2 seconds. 5.1, I think. Might have been hotfixed already. Don't really know, to be honest with you. But damn, these are good. These are really good because Holy Radiance is one of those spells that even the most conservative of spenders would always try to get a few Holy Radiances. You know what I mean? It's the best freaking AoE heal you have, and it builds Holy Power, and it gives you a buff. So it's got to be used. You can't avoid it. Although you try to, you can't. It's not the old days where you just spam it every freaking global on Ultraxion, but it's still a viable, it's the best spell. It really is. So the fact that they're giving us something to make it more useful is awesome. I'm going to use this 2-set, absolutely. 4-set, Holy Shock is 2 seconds now. It's a 6-second CD, so that's pretty good. I use Holy Shock a lot. Okay, so that's a bit situational for most, but Holy Shock, going to build up Holy Power easy, going to heal on the move. It's pretty good heal too, you know, so I'm going to use the 4-set. I really am. A lot of people are suggesting otherwise, and let me tell you why. Okay, people are saying that, you know, you got a 4/16 helm or 5/16 helm. Okay, if you can kill Heroic Elite, which, get the fuck out of here. Who's doing that? Not me. But the regular tier has more spirit than that helm anyway. So I'm probably going to go with that helm. Okay, the gloves have no socket. So everyone's like, nah, you got to go with the socket. Okay, it has crit, but it has a socket. Has more spirit than those gloves anyway. But it's got haste. You know what I mean? So maybe the gloves aren't very good. We really get screwed here. We really do, because all the tier pieces, not one of them have best in slot stats except for the helm, and there's a better helm. So spirit crit on the shoulders, not really ideal. There's spirit haste, and the shoulders have almost the same spirit and intellect. Okay, so once again, I don't know. Legs have no spirit at all. Okay, but they do have 1 socket. The only ones have spirit and 2 sockets are Fang. So that's lower eye level if you can get it. And then chest is the best in slot, would theoretically be this with spirit, 2 sockets, and mastery. That's strong stats. And then White Tiger's got haste and 2 yellow sockets. So I don't know, man. It's a tough one. If I get it, I'm going to use it, though. I'm putting it that way. I like Holy Shock and I like Holy Radiance, but that's been it. So you guys can make your own decisions. Please, if you have, you know, your opinions, leave them here. You want to tell me I'm an idiot? I'll embrace it. So just go ahead and do it. I'd like to see some discussion, but other than that, going to be doing some more stuff for patches and future content. So stay tuned.